This podcast will fail. Mostly because nobody's going to listen to it. Well, you might prove me wrong. And who knows? And welcome to episode 20 here. This is the end of season 1, 15 years of failure. And this is actually like the, I swear to God, 7th or 8th time that I have hit the record button on this episode, gotten a little ways in, and stopped and deleted it and started back over. Everything is conspiring and getting in my way today towards making this final episode. So, let's see if we can get through this take. Right, so this is, as I said, episode 20. This is the final episode of season 1, exploring my life as a digital content creator and why it is that I have gone through so much frustration and just heartache. Why I have lived such trials and tribulations in the pursuit of success as a digital content creator. A lot of eye-opening conversations that I've had with myself over the last 20 days. It seems apparently that there are 2, possibly 3 people out there who are listening to this every day. So thank you, anonymous listener. For those just joining us, I am just some guy. Who I am, where I am, all that's irrelevant. I'm just here to have a conversation every day. And I've been having these conversations with myself, and they've been, I don't know, I think it's a little bit of a strong word, and I think people maybe throw this word out a little too much in this day of age. I can say it's been cathartic, but I seriously think that is an overused term at this point in the world. So I'm not going to go that far. But I'm going to say that it has been useful to me. I guess you could almost say they were self-therapy sessions in some weird way. I have been able to admit a lot of things to myself and say them out loud about some of the decisions I made, some of the almost self-destructive actions that I have taken in the pursuit of these creative projects. So from that perspective, actually, as much as the podcast is supposed to fail, I think that this first season in many ways has been a success for me. Not a success in any way measurable, by a digital presence or a following of any kind, but for me, right, I set forth to break the mold of what I usually do and try to approach content creation from the exact opposite direction that I usually do. And usually it is predicated on, I've got this really cool idea that I think people will watch or listen to or whatever, and ultimately I think they will buy. I think they will somehow pay money for something, and I will be able to quit my job and live comfortably. Right. Okay. Well, I'm not special in that regard. I'm much like any other quote-unquote artist, quote-unquote creator. There's millions of people just like me out there who are making things and hoping that people will watch them and enjoy them and will get popular. Well, on various incredibly small scales, I have succeeded in that at certain points. I've had a lot of fun. I've had a lot of things that I found fulfilling and rewarding, and yet for some reason it's all built up to this, like, I don't know, mental and emotional crash that I experienced in the last couple of months of almost saying enough is enough, I can't do this anymore. So this kind of closes out that conversation. This puts that final, I love the word, capstone on this whole exploration. So there's really two final things that I want to kind of talk about and cover in this conversation. The first is just the final piece of what I've been talking about for the past couple of days, and that is the people. It really comes down to the people that I have met, the friends that I have made. In some context, you can almost say the fans that I've made, but really, I don't know. I think every single one of those quote-unquote fans ultimately translated into friends more than anything else. And I mean, is it cliche to say that that's what's actually important, right? Is the relationships that you form and the people that you get to know and experience life, sometimes through their eyes, sometimes they get to experience life through your eyes, especially when you're a content creator. That's what you're really looking for, is for people to see things, see the world as you see it. And I've been successful in that, and I can't point to any huge numbers, right? I mean, internet radio, okay, there were at one time dozens of people that were actively taking part in my show, actively listening and participating in chat rooms and playing games with us, and that continued. That continued into when I rebranded that last year, or was it yesterday or the year before, as a game show back on YouTube. Okay, so a couple hundred, maybe, give or take, tallied all up. Who knows? Who cares? Point is, it wasn't millions of people. It wasn't The Rock with 200,000 Instagram followers. I'm not famous. I'm never going to be famous, and I think that I may possibly have finally come to terms with that fact. But still, I owe a lot to those people that cheered me on, and those friends. That's really what I have to call them, as friends. I don't know if there's a heck of a lot more I can really say about that, other than, going forward, I think I understand that the people who invest their time and their attention on what I do deserve better than to hear me wallowing in sorrow and self-pity about it. Not everything's going to work out. Very few things do work out, but that's life, right? It doesn't necessarily matter if it's in the context of content creation or just life in general. People commit time and energy to the other people that they care about in some fashion. Call it friendship, call it love, whatever. It's a gift, and it's a gift that I have been given, and it's taken me 20 days of talking out loud about it for me to understand that no matter how much I screw up, and no matter how often I sabotage myself or I give up on my projects, it does not take away from the time and energy that people gifted to me. That's probably the most important piece. So the second part of it is how I move forward from here. What am I going to do in the big picture as somebody who is very often driven to make content? And I am. And I want to make things. I think that a word came across my field of vision a couple of weeks ago for just a moment, and I think I might have said it in one of the episodes, and it's kind of roosted itself in the back of my head now. And the word is nihilism. This is an interesting little phenomenon. I've talked a little bit about my family, that I have a couple of adult kids, and one of them in particular turned 18 this year. boy, I tell you, nihilism is just like a way of life for these kids. The other one is 21 right now. They're both off at college together, dorm room together, brothers out there in the world. But they both have this like gleeful nihilism, right? This sort of resigned attitude that stuff's not going to work out all the time. Things are what they are. You can control very little of it. So you might as well just sit back and do what you can to enjoy the ride, because it doesn't really matter whether you bitch or moan or complain. It doesn't really matter whether or not you poured your heart and soul into something. It's either going to work or it's not. And that's been an interesting way of thinking to me. And again, this is kind of something that's been stewing in the back of my mind for most of the last week and a half, of recognizing that I get myself so completely worked up and frustrated over these things not working out, because I have these huge expectations going in that I think, this one's got to be it. This is going to be the ticket, man. This one's going to work out. This is going to be great. And I'm crushed when none of that comes to bear. And I'm lost, and I'm unsure of my own self-worth and whether or not it's worth it, and what I should be doing from here, if anything. And then, and then the cycle starts all up again. Well, okay. What if I was able to go into new projects with no expectations at all, right? With a clear understanding that, look, I'm here to make something. I'm an artist, right? I got things I want to say from time to time. Maybe eventually I do have visuals I want to create, stories that I want to tell, points that I want to make in a discussion, in a public forum, in a topic. So why did those things have to be tied to an expectation? In the long run, it doesn't matter, right? And somebody said to me at work a couple weeks ago, this is probably a piece of it too, and this is the individual that one of the individuals that knows about this podcast and has called on me to try to help him in a producer capacity as he moves into creative writing and possibly making videos. Okay, him. And he pointed out to me the example of someone like, here's hubris to the nth degree, kids, Da Vinci. Okay, no, I am not Da Vinci, right? But the point is prescient. It's all relative. Nobody knew of or appreciated Da Vinci's work when he was alive. He was a pariah. He was a million negative things. He was no good to anybody, especially not himself. But it wasn't until much later that the world recognized that he had made many somethings that were important and that were worthy of being remembered. Now, he wasn't, I don't think, he wasn't saying that to somehow pump me up or make me think that I'm gonna be remembered someday. But I think his point was to say that you never know. You never know. It could very well be. It could be that some years later somebody finds this and recognizes it and says, "Oh, this guy is cool." I don't know. Maybe 2 or 3 people right now, who I'm sure are not still listening at this point, are saying, "Oh, this guy's pretty cool." Will that last? Will that be forever? No. But that's an achievement. That's an accomplishment. And that's something that I should recognize and be grateful for, rather than bitching and complaining about it being permanent and repeatable. Right? It all kind of goes back to that idea of just a little dash of nihilism. What a word. To help cope, to help set more realistic and appropriate expectations as I move into my next creative endeavors. I think for a while this is what it's going to be. It's this, right? I have also found it very liberating to be able to just make something and not worry about you knowing my name. Not worry whether or not I am recognized in any way. Hey, it's that guy. It doesn't matter. Who I am is irrelevant. And if anybody finds what I have to say interesting in any stretch of the imagination, then I have been successful. And that has to be how I move forward from here. Recognizing the things that I do get out of making content. And hey, there's a brief glimmer of hope that someone somewhere might see it and hear it and watch it and listen to it and like it and do something to help me make it more successful. But if not, that's got to be okay too. Right? I need to allow myself the freedom to create without undue pressure upon myself to achieve some measure of success. Because I think the more I think about it, it's building up all that pressure and having such high expectations each time that lead me to a place of feeling like I was a failure. Right? It's that inability to match the expectation that caused me time and time and time again to miss the positives that I got from every single thing I did. So I guess I have to this is for me, right? If anybody is listening at this point, hey, thanks, man. Very cool, but that's not what this is about. I have to commit to myself going forward from here that the things I make, I'm making because I need to. They're there. I have this drive. I have this spirit to produce things and share them with the world. And if they make it big, fine. But if they don't, that is not a reason for me to turn around and feel like a failure and feel like I screwed up and question my own worth or any of that. That, I think, is hopefully where I land at the end of the whole thing. A little dash of nihilism, but really recognizing that I can no longer tie my value and my self-worth to whether or not something I create makes it big. So hopefully that'll change the conversation for me going forward. So that should be it. That should be the end of this conversation about all of the things I've tried to do, everyone that hasn't done what I've expected it to do, but has still provided me with a life experience that I can be proud of, no matter how I look at it. So I think that's it. I think that's the end of season 1. And thank you for your time. If anybody has been listening to this, I hope it's been valuable to you. I hope that you'll continue to come and listen to me as I try to do this every single day. I have no idea what tomorrow will bring. I don't know if tomorrow is the start of a new season or just the spaces in between while I figure that out. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe you'll care and you'll come and find out with me, but I'm sure I will find out tomorrow. So that's it. That's all I got. Hope you have a good day out there.